my goodness, people. What a wild night it's been. You know what? It seems like Davy Science Theater just ain't going to happen. At least it's not going to happen the way that I had intended it to. Maybe I just need to educate myself a little bit more because I figured that public domain movies were free to show. But maybe folks don't want me using their website to show something that is copyright free. I don't know. I have no idea. God damn, though, what a bummer. I was just thinking, I'm like, I could have like recorded a Tales from the Crypt episode and probably like, honestly, with Kate going out to dinner with her lady friends, like, I could have recorded an episode and edited it probably tonight, but I wanted to get on live with you guys and hang out. And here we are, about an hour and 15 after we had started our original stream, and it's kind of a bummer. I don't think we're going to give it another try, Jigsaw, but I do want to hang out with you guys. I do think that you guys deserve a good hangout. We have 15 people in here. Holy crap. You guys are more understanding than my priest or my parents. No, I don't have a priest. I don't go to church. I did grow up in a Catholic home, so maybe that's why I said that. But I just mean you guys are so understanding and sweet. It's really, really cool. Yeah, bummer, Jamie, because I had already, luckily I didn't plan. So, excuse me. Oh my goodness. Cecil from the Horror Show channel reached out and he was like, "Hey man, are you doing any of these like with guests?" And I was like, well, I'd love to have guests on. But booking Late Night with the Davy for me, like having a real life, working a full-time job, and just booking Late Night with the Davy, the last thing I want to do is like try to book collabs for all of these watch parties. But Cecil had reached out. I was like, "You see something you like?" And he's like, "Well, I've been wanting to go through the George Romero Dead movies, and so I'd love to do the Night of the Living Dead, night with you." And that's great. I mean, I have that one on, like, I have the Criterion of that. But I thought the great thing about the public domain is we'd be able to show it on screen. Then like that way you guys don't have to bring up your own streams. I think that's like the cool thing. Like when Dave jumped on with us the other week and we watched It's Me, Billy Chapter 1, and Dave was like, "Go ahead and bring it up." That must have been, maybe he and Bruce got an alert that was like, "Hey, someone's showing your shit." And Dave was like, "It's cool." So maybe I felt like a dummy when he told me that, but I guess if I try to do it without getting his permission, maybe we would have ran into the same thing that we ran into tonight, because either that or the ghost of Ed Wood is like really pissed off at me for trying to have some fun at his expense. But Ed, I promise, dude, I think Tommy Wiseau's a worse director than you. I think Uwe Boll, like Robert had brought up, is a worse director than Ed Wood. Coleman Francis, I think, is a worse director. I would say Bert I. Gordon is arguably worse because the whole thing was all about, just making things big. There was no like real artistry there. I've watched every single episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000, and I've seen movies that are worse than some Ed Wood movies. Maybe he's made the worst movie I've ever seen. Like, I think Orgy of the Dead and Glen or Glenda, that they're kind of tied for number one. But maybe the ghost of Ed Wood is upset at me. So yeah, let's just hang out. Ask me some questions. Let's talk about some music. Let's talk about some movies. We don't have to hang out for long. It's Saturday night. It's your guys' night too. But I'm here anyways, so let's just hang out and have a good time. Yeah, Prince, we got cut. It's lovely to see you, Paula, always. And yeah, we're just gonna have to figure something else out for the other streams. Either that or I cancel them and bring in people to discuss topics, which I'm really excited to do. The Oreo Coke, Prince, I wish it weren't Coke Zero, because I can taste the zero in it, the aspartame. Not a big aspartame fan. I don't like fake sugar. And I don't really like corn syrup either. I like real sugar. So, getting a Mexican Coke, or it really, like most bottled sodas, if you get them in a glass bottle, they have cane sugar in them. and they're really good. They're not good for you, but they're not as bad for you as high fructose corn syrup. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like when you smoke a cigar, you're not really inhaling. Maybe you, like with me, when I smoke a cigar, maybe I like inhale a couple times, but really it's just about the taste. So it's not great for like my mouth, but it's not destroying my lungs as if I were sitting there like smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean? I think that's like the kind of the difference I think about between like soda that has real sugar and soda that has corn syrup, which is basically like the sugar version of heroin. Fight the good fight, they probably would. I would probably not have any trouble on Rumble. But again, like I don't have a staff. I'm lucky if I pay like a bill through what we do here. So setting everything up, coordinating everything, being like the person that runs the whole production. And I know sometimes it doesn't seem like a lot, but um, you know, I'm the only one. So yeah, so Rumble is something that I'm on Rumble, but I don't simulcast to Rumble, and maybe I should think about that. Davey, would you recommend American Beauty or Lolita for me? I know both of those are controversial movies. I've never seen Lolita. I think American Beauty is like good the first time you see it and pretty trite and cheesy every other time. It's sort of like Donnie Darko. It's like a movie that makes you think it's really smart and really clever. And then the more you watch it, the more you're just like, is this even good? And there's good performances in American Beauty, I think, for sure. But I think it's pretty corny. Absolutely. Um, but yeah, some good performances there. Plenty to make fun of. Yeah, people can be idiots. I love that. Love it. YouTube gets weird about watching stuff on screen. Yeah, maybe they just saw it's bizarre to me. I think it's time to get me on soon. Cody, I'd love to have you on, man. I mean, you know this. Whenever you're ready, brother, like let's do it. I would love to bring Cody on. Cody and I met. I don't know if everyone's heard this story, everyone hanging out in the chat. So Cody and I met like online through Dave McRae's channel. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cody. And Cody's been a mod over there on Dave's channel for, I mean, as long as I recognize that Dave has had mods. I've been watching Dave since 2017, and I would imagine maybe by 2020, 2019, maybe started like bringing in a whole bunch of folks for mods. And that's how I got to know Cody, is just somebody that was always hanging out in the chat. And then we actually got to hang out and meet at H45 last year, which was really cool. And Malik Akkad came out and hung out with us for a little bit. No big deal. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, we got to get you on for sure. I have not listened to the new Dashboard Confessional. It's been a long time since I've listened to Dashboard Confessional. But I will say this. Last night when we were driving home from the restaurant, I was like, I want Life in General by MXPX on vinyl. That thought entered my brain. And then I tried to find it today and couldn't find it. But I do love, the first 3 Dashboard records, Swiss Army Romance, The Places You Have Come to Fear the Most, and what was the third one called? Brand Mission, a Scar, something like that. Like those records I really like. After that, I just don't remember as much Prince. But remember, I'm kind of an older guy. So like I'm about like Chris Caraba and I are about the same age. He might be like a year or 2 older than me. So I was listening to his stuff like 20 years ago, a little bit longer than 20 years ago. And Prince, I will say this, if you like Dashboard, if you've not listened to Saves the Day, you gotta go check out Saves the Day, man. Saves the Day is the band from that era. All those East Coast bands that were influenced by like bands like Lifetime and all that kind of awesome shit that was coming out, like all those Taking Back Sunday, My Chemical Romance, Saves the Day, The Strider, Dashboard. I know he's from Florida, but that's still East Coast. there's a couple other ones I'm trying to think of, but I would say this, like, honestly, I'm aware of all those bands. Saves the Day to me is the fucking band. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. I shit you not. And if you like Dashboard, I think you're really gonna like Saves the Day, because I think they're it's a little bit more of a sexy emo. Okay. Lolita is a great film, says Jamie, and I know I've not yet seen that one, but I definitely should because it's Kubrick, so why the hell not? Raymond says I told my cousin about it, and she was thinking about joining in, but now I'm glad she didn't. She loves watching it. Oh, the Plan 9, yeah. Garden State, yeah, not very good. Unfortunately, not very good. Zach Braff is bad. Like, Zach Braff to me, it's sort of like Jimmy Fallon, where I'm like, oh, well, this guy's popular because women think he's cute. Like, that's it. Like, this person is not very funny. Like, Jimmy Fallon is not very funny. Like, his greatest talent is making really funny people, like being able to interact with really funny people. It's like what I do on Late Night with the Davey, but Jimmy makes millions of dollars doing it. It's not that great of a talent. Like, you're just sort of playing ping pong with somebody that's a ping pong master. So they're killing it. They're knocking it out of the park, and you're just there to like set them up. And then, yeah, Zach Braff. I mean, Scrubs, come on. Like, I don't know. Everyone else, the funny people in Scrubs are like the grumpy doctors and the janitor. Everyone else, like the main characters in Scrubs, are not funny. And I feel like Zach Braff is like, Jason Lee in Mallrats is like this Chevy Chasian, like Fletch, Caddyshack, like perfect mix of like what you want from Chevy Chase. Like, handsome, so confident that he's sexy. So that's 3. And the tempo and the rhythm of the comedy is so perfect. And I think somebody like Jason Lee in Mallrats, and then even later in like My Name is Earl, captures that Chevy Chasian cadence and timing. That's a really difficult thing to do. And I do think that, I know there's a whole bunch of negative stuff out there about Chevy, and I've never met the guy, so I don't know what the hell to say, but I'm just like, Chevy is one of like potentially maybe the funniest actor I've ever seen, period. And so when I see somebody that's like a student of his, like Jason Lee, I love it. And then I see people like Zach Braff from Garden State and Scrubs, and I feel like they like try to be Chevy Chase, but they have no charm. The McCrazies are great, Cody Snyder. We got Freddy Krueger in the house. You are all my children now. And let's see here. Who else is talking? He's so great with viewers and fans. Thank you. Yeah, Malik is amazing. I think I never worry about Halloween, because even if I don't like the movies or if I love the movies, I know more is to come, because Malik Akkad cares about the fans and cares about putting Michael out there. It's not about his own personal ego. He makes money either way. That's the thing. If he didn't make money either way, there wouldn't have been an H45. It would only be 25, 50 or 40 and then 50, celebrating that 45. That goes to show that like the shit's working. So Malik is willing to put the money up there and also just be like, the fans want the films. Like, that's what they want. And so it's really crazy, speaking of McCrazies, Cody, you know better than anyone, Michael was pretty much absent until 1988 when Halloween 4 came out. I mean, 81 is when Halloween 2 came out, but boom, there's like 7 years there, and it's Jason and Freddy, and that's it for those 7 years. So I think what Malik has really realized at this point is, yeah, I can just keep on making these movies and the fans are going to love them. And even like the great thing too about giving a contract, like, boom, you guys get to make 3 movies and then we put a pin in that one. And it's the choose your own adventure kind of path for Halloween. So when they reboot it or they revisit Michael in a theater, like, I mean, it's going to be, the fans are going to love it. There's going to be some people that don't, and there's going to be a lot of people that do. And yeah, I think Malik is amazing. Like, I can't say enough great things about him, and maybe you just have to meet him. I was wearing, you guys might have seen me at some points on this channel wearing my like Hawaiian shirt that's got like Jason and Leatherface and Freddy and Michael on it. And when I met Malik, it was before I had met Cody, I bumped into Malik and Tom Jones Jr. at the after party. And Malik said, "You're wearing the Enemy." And I was like, "Yeah, but I got your boy right here. And he's my guy." I was like, "He's my guy." And he was like, he gave me, a little look, got a nice picture with him. And then when he popped on over and hung out with us, he was like engaging about the character and engaging about like the fandom. It was amazing. So I could talk about Malik Akkad forever. Because I think he's the antithesis in the most positive way of the rights holders for Friday the 13th and A Nightmare on Elm Street. Liana never got into Dashboard after seeing the singer hook up with a friend's girlfriend backstage at a Saves the Day show. Well, then I totally get that too, because there is that whole air about that era of emo and how it was like, it was manipulative in a certain sort of way. I totally get that. And I know that there's been some like accusations like shot towards Chris from Saves the Day like a couple years ago, but I know that the person that he was with, that he had a child with, was somebody that he knew since he was like a teenager. And Dashboard I always felt was pretty cheesy. Like even if I liked the songs, it wasn't like a religious devotion, but Saves the Day kind of like a religious devotion for me. Sometimes it's just that way. What's happening, T Silo? Everybody make T Silo feel welcome here in the chat, hanging out. Fight the Good Fight says, Davey, did you ever listen to New York hardcore bands like Sick of It All and Madball? A little bit of Sick of It All, not too much Madball. But I definitely know who they are. I would say as far as New York hardcore, like Quicksand. I like Quicksand. I would imagine they're considered hardcore. And then like Gorilla Biscuits, I don't know if that might be Philly, or it might be New York or New Jersey. Gorilla Biscuits, Shelter, Civ, like that kind of revolutionary records, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's fun to watch controversial movies for sure. What's happening, DA Mac? Great to see you. One of our new subscribers and channel members here. So thank you so much for hanging out, DA. Raymond is saying, yo, if you haven't seen Shocker, you should check it out. I think Shocker's great. And it's been a long time since I've watched it, Raymond. So I have to watch it again. Everyone's been posting about Shocker lately. It must have just had an anniversary or something like that. But I don't think I've seen it in like 10, 15 years. So yeah, I should check out Shocker. Horace Pinker, right? And speaking of punk rock, there's a great punk rock, like pop punk band from the 90s called Horace Pinker, named after the character from Shocker. If you guys haven't checked them out, they're really fun. They have a song called Pop Can Park. Oof. It's on one of the Fat Records compilations. It's really, really good. Highly recommend it. Yeah, Horace Pinker. And yeah, gotta revisit Shocker for sure. Thank you for getting that, Jamie. I appreciate you. Bradley Johnson. This is my bud Brad from Juneau. What's happening, Brad? Man, so Brad just got married at the Gathering of the Juggalos and had like ICP was like on the witness list for his official document. So they like signed the wedding document. I think that's pretty fucking killer. And I'm by no means a juggalo or involved in that community. Great Malenko became a hit record when I was in high school. It's kind of like when ICP broke out. And there's definitely some songs on that record that I really enjoy. But I'm not going to like stand up here and act like I'm part of the crew. I just know that about Brad. And Brad is a musician as well and a singer. And when I was living in Juneau and setting up punk shows and doing all that stuff, like Brad was always hanging out and being the most supportive guy. And then his band started playing the shows. So really cool to kind of see that. We've been friends for a really long time. Brad and I have known each other. Shit, dude, it's been 20 years probably. That Brad and I have known each other. And I know we just got to see Marilyn Manson not too far from me. I wish we could have gotten a hookup there, Brad. But if I were a yogurt, would you be fruit at the bottom or stirred? I would be stirred because I like a nice even taste. I wrote the bill. I like a nice even taste throughout. So I'm not like when I season something, I want a good mix. And when I eat yogurt, I'm gonna stir that shit up anyways. So if I'm fruit at the bottom, I'm stirring it up. But I would rather just be stirred already, you know? That's what's up. Jamie tried to like Shocker, but it's just not her thing. Cody says Shocker is awesome. Jamie, I just remember it being really fun. So I don't remember it being like, oh man, this is like groundbreaking, but like a cool sort of like fit in with what was going on. It felt like Freddy with a twist, right? Like that Wes was sort of trying to do like, well, what if Freddy could move through like electricity? Because there's that personality there and that like haunting sort of revenge kind of element there as well. Yeah. I bet Davey hasn't seen it. Yeah. Are you talking? You're talking about Shocker. I know I haven't seen a lot. I don't, I can't blame you for not having that faith in me, Raymond. There's so much I haven't seen, but yes, I have seen Shocker. Yeah. Raymond, I think he had because so but I can't blame you, I can't blame you at all. It's really funny. That's great. Brad says, I'm about to watch Off Ramp with some friends that I went to the gathering with. Dude, Off Ramp, there's gonna be some things that may surprise you with Off Ramp. It's kind of like a road trip movie. It's kind of like an SLC Punk movie. SLC Punk meets like a road trip movie. With some twists that I didn't see coming for sure. A little bit of a Mad Max Fury Road sort of vibe mixed in there in some sort of way. It's interesting. But man, Jared Bankins performed the hell out of his role in that movie. And I think like if you're a juggalo, like you're gonna love Off Ramp. I rented it for like $4 on YouTube. And it's an independent film. So if you guys want to support an independent film, you can rent it for $4. And it's like a road trip movie to the gathering of the Juggalos with the kinds of antics that you figure some Juggalos might get into, So there you go. Got some congrats to Brad for getting married. Hell yeah. Never watched or probably never will watch a Serbian film. Yep. Most people are juggalos and don't even know it. I feel the same way about punk rock and horror, Brad. I think it's one of those things like I'm sure I would have a blast at the gathering of the juggalos because you know me, man. Like I'm a people person and I'm a lover, like it doesn't mean like I consider myself like relatively conservative in a lot of ways, but the way that I'm like a giant hippie is like I love people and I love getting along with people and getting to know people and like what makes them tick and what about them is like are things that I like and like you guys hear me talk about it all the time on the channel here. It's more about our commonalities than the things we have different. And I love finding that with people. And I feel like, if you keep an open mind and an open heart, you can kind of feel that with no matter what group you go into, which is why even though I do say that I think I'm relatively conservative, I do think I'm somewhat in the middle because to me, everything's sort of a la carte. Like it has to make sense. I'm not into like cult kind of things or like team sort of things. So when it comes to politics and all that stuff with me, it's like it doesn't feel like a team to me. It feels like every little thing a la carte. And I feel like I would have a blast at the gathering of the Juggalos because of stuff like that. Because I've gone to Willie Nelson's 4th of July picnic. I didn't grow up listening to country. I have no like old school country I love. But Kate brought me, years ago, we had maybe been dating for like a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. We went to Willie's 4th of July picnic. I got to see Chris Christopherson solo. And it was like I wanted to cry because it was so beautiful. And I never even thought I would even see that. And then seeing like Merle Haggard and of course Willie like rip it up, just a place that I never saw myself, but found myself having a great time just enjoying the crowd and enjoying the experience for sure. Let's see here. I only know Halls of Illusions. Don't look now. Your life is gone. I love from Great Malenko. I love the Nedden game. It's like the dating game Rip. Like it's really fun. A nice even taste. I Oh, I love it. Yeah, don't ever watch Serbian film. Maybe I should catch up here. Oh, we have 18 people, and I felt like I was really behind here, but I'm not. When I was watching Shocker this afternoon, I was thinking of elements of Fallen for sure. Yes, absolutely. I read the full synopsis of Observer. Yeah, I've had people tell me about that, and one of my friends was like, "Don't watch it." He goes, "Somebody's gonna tell you to watch it. Don't watch it." He's like, "I've watched it. There's nothing to gain from watching a Serbian film." He goes, "I'll tell you everything that happens in the movie just so you don't watch it." Like he was willing to like literally like that's like putting your coat down over a puddle or like laying down on a bed of coals so someone can walk across your back. He was like, "Don't watch this movie, and I'll tell you why." It was beautiful. Let's see here, just trying to. Oh, and Raymond, like, I don't blame you, dude. There's so much. You guys know how open I am. I'm a fucking open book. Like, if I haven't seen something, I'll let you know. I talk about my blind spots all the time. Yeah. Uh, would I consider that? What do you mean? I don't have. I don't. I can't see myself funding it myself. Brad. So if I'm going to go to the gathering of 2025, it would be amazing. I would love to cover that for the channel. That would be wild. I just wouldn't be able to. I just don't know if I'd be able to like put aside money for that kind of thing. But I'd be willing to go for sure. Yeah, Jamie's seen every movie in the theater. Davey, you kind of remind me of my uncles who are super old fashioned, except they don't do weed. Yeah, I do weed. I have it right here. So this is a watermelon pen, cannabis every day. I mean, why the hell not? Super old fashioned. I like that. Thank you for that. I just mean, I don't know. Not going to get into it all. Relatively conservative. Relatively. Yeah, I've heard nothing good about it, man. Fallen is really good. That's like an unsung, that's an underrated gem, man. It's really, really good shit. Um, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Guys, if you're in the chat or you're watching this after the fact and you haven't seen Fallen, that's a really good movie. It's a really good movie from the 90s that doesn't get talked about as much as other movies that are very, very good as well. But I would put that like, it would be a great triple feature, guys. And let me know if I'm way off on this. Like Fallen, Stir of Echoes, Sixth Sense is like a good kind of trio where they all kind of play with somewhat sort of similar things. Yeah, Fallen was really good. Brad says if my crypto pays off, I'll pay your way to the gathering in 2025. Dude, I'll fucking be there. I don't wear face paint. I just don't do it. I'll bring a Michael Myers mask. That would be fun. I'll bring a Michael Myers mask that can get face painted. How about that? I'll be the Juggalo Michael Myers at Gathering 2025. That's super sweet, man. Yeah, it would be really fun actually just to, I love music festivals and I love going to places that feel like church. Like every time I go to a horror convention, it's like going to church. H45 was like the biggest church excursion. I swear to God, guys, when I came back, like the next week, I was like depressed just because of how much fun H45 was. Like, got to meet Cody, got to meet Darren and Frank from the Slaughtered Lamb movie podcast. Got to meet Malik, of course, Tom Jones Jr. Who else was there? Rowan Campbell was there. Got to meet Anthony Michael Hall. That was pretty wild. It was a really cool weekend for sure. So yeah, go into the gathering 2025. Let's make it happen, Brad. Jamie, you know what? That's the thing about moms, Nicholas, is they're always going to try to be someone's mom. That's just how they are. Paula, you should check it out. It's fun. It's really fun. If you like Wes Craven, if you like A Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream and Serpent and the Rainbow and, all that kind of stuff, I think Wes is really good most of the time. I think he's maybe Wes gets a little bit forgotten from people like me because he's not as stylized as someone like John Carpenter or George Romero. At least like he doesn't stand out to me in the way that Romero and Carpenter do, especially Carpenter because Carpenter does the music and the visuals. I think that's a huge thing. And then Romero edits like while he shoots. So I think like Romero just always like his story always makes sense, like what he's trying to tell you. And so I feel like I'm just saying for myself, like I think sometimes I don't undercut his talents, but maybe forget about that Wes is right there. Like when we talk big three franchises, we talk Jason, Michael, Freddie. But when we talk big three directors, I think it's kind of like Romero, Carpenter, Craven for me. And yeah, I mean, Wes is amazing. Shocker's really fun. And definitely worth a watch for sure. Serbian film was fine, says Necro. The more fucked up, the better for me. Most vile thing I've watched was Atroz. Never seen that. I mean, more fucked up. For me, it's like, Dead Alive is probably like the grossest movie I've ever watched. But it's really fun, like so I would say like Terrifier. I don't know. Like, I think Dead Alive and Terrifier are like right next to each other. I think Dead Alive just makes comedy a little more apparent, but I laugh a lot. Maybe not with the first Terrifier because it's not really anything to me. It's just like a bunch of skits. But Terrifier 2 is really funny. In that sort of Peter Jackson, Sam Raimi kind of way. But yeah, I mean, I don't search for like how fucked up can it be. But I do like when boundaries are pushed. And if it works, as its own piece of art, then absolutely. You guys have heard me talk about Evil Dead Rise, and I was like a little let down with Evil Dead Rise. And I think it's because it's like it walked up to the edge of the cliff, but it didn't jump off. The way that 2013's Evil Dead from Fede Alvarez, like that movie realized, we're walking into this franchise that is known for pushing the boundaries. And 2013's Evil Dead pushed them even further. So I wanted Rise to push further than that. But it's not necessarily the most fucked up. It's just like what fits the franchise, for sure. So that's probably one of the reasons why I don't really like Rob Zombie's Halloween remake, because I feel like it sort of pushed it beyond the boundaries of the franchise. What is a juggalo? There's a whole song about it, Raymond. It's amazing. Like, and maybe you're just making a joke, but a juggalo is a fan of Insane Clown Posse. We can read the handbook for the recently deceased. Serbian film sounds like on the same lines as Salo. Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen Salo either, Liana. I have seen Cannibal Holocaust, and I will say this about Cannibal Holocaust. I didn't know it was like a found footage film. And I didn't expect for like halfway through for my entire perception of what I had watched before that point be like completely changed. I felt like Cannibal Holocaust was an amazing film, like incredibly powerful, very difficult to watch. Kind of like an Aronofsky movie, like Requiem for a Dream, or even something like Passion of the Christ, where like I've seen Cannibal Holocaust once, but man, it left its impression. Like I don't need to watch that movie again unless I'm reviewing it or covering it on the channel, because it imprinted itself on me. And it seems like Salo is a similar kind of thing, and maybe Serbian film is as well. I thought Cannibal Holocaust had some really interesting things to say about like colonialism and I don't know, not like just kind of getting up your own ass about your like sort of not anti-journalism, but anti like manipulative journalism. So it was really interesting. Like I thought Cannibal Holocaust was really good. Davey, I think inside I'm still an edgy teenage boy. I think I'm that too, Nicholas. You may never lose that. That might just be something that all men feel inside. Never watched Serbian film. It crosses the line for me. That's from everything I've heard about it, Jamie. That's why I don't want to watch it, because it seems like it's going to cross some lines for me. Ice Nine Kills just announced a special song for Terrifier 3. I heard about that. I've still never listened to Ice Nine Kills. I've never heard a song. I have no idea what they sound like. But I do know my guy Dream Kid. I love this artist. He calls himself Blink Wave, because it's like synth wave, but with that like poppy Blink 182 kind of edge. He's got a song called Chrissy that's going to be on Terrifier 3. I've never seen Happiness, but man, people have told me all about how dreadful that movie is, or just how troubling some of it is. Yeah, good for him, man. I hope they go as long as he wants to keep it going, you know. Jamie saw Solo, though my fingers through my fingers as a kid. Yeah. If you want to see a weird non-horror movie with a great cast, Asteroid City. Is that Wes Anderson with like Tom Hanks and all that? Yeah, I've seen the original Martyrs. I haven't seen the American version. I think the original is really good. But yeah, a movie you only need to see once. Kids is rough. Another movie you only need to see once. Kids is better than. Have you guys seen Bully by Larry Clark? Holy shit, dude. Bully is fucking rough. Like, I felt violated watching Bully. Not so much with kids, although, you know, he worked up to Bully from kids. Yeah, never seen it before. Philip Seymour Hoffman, right? Yeah. Listen to Rockin' the Boat. It's about Jaws, and I know you'll love it. All right, Brad. You got it. You got it, bud. Yeah, I listen to so much of the same kind of crap lately. I don't know. I'm a slave to my passion. What do you guys think of my Michael Tiki mug here? It's technically from Curse of Michael Myers. Can you tell? It kind of has that George P. Wilbur build, you know, stocky Myers. Yeah, good shit. Just let me know. Let me know in the comments as well. Yeah, I need to check out Ice Nine. Brad, I listen to like when as far as metal goes, it's a lot of Megadeth for me. I don't know if you've heard the latest Megadeth record. I think it's been out like a year and a half now, maybe 2 years now. It's called The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead. Dude, it fucking rips. And Mustaine's lyrics are still right there. So good shit to listen to. The Michael Tiki Cup is rad. 13 likes, not so bad for a third stream of the night. Jeez, I'm crow. Kids, wow. I went down a rabbit hole on the documentary, says Liana. Very interesting story and tragic endings for some of the cast. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember his name, but that skater kid that was in it ended up killing himself, unfortunately. That's really sad. Raymond says Tom Hanks, Scarlett Johansson, Adrian Brody, Brian Kent. Yeah. I bet it's great. You know, Wes Anderson, what I love about his movies is that they're never that long. I think that's a really like I always thought his movies like, oh, he puts out these like 2-hour long like dramedies. No, most of his movies are like 140 at the most. They just like have like you pack in so much information, it feels like you're watching a longer movie. The Royal Tenenbaums is one of my favorite comedies of all time. Like it just is. And man, even the movies of his that I haven't seen every single Wes Anderson movie. There's probably like 2 or 3 I haven't seen. Everyone I've seen, even the ones that like I think like Bottle Rocket's really funny, but I would actually like rank it towards the bottom. Not because it's bad, it's just because everything's so damn good. It's like this really like tight sliding scale. I mean, there's not a bad Wes Anderson movie. It's just like, you know, does one resonate with you more because it like kind of chimes into a certain part of your like nostalgia or your own experience that it just resonates with you more, which I think is a really cool thing about the way he makes movies. And his movies are beautiful looking. Like I think he draws that Kubrickian sort of influence from the visuals. The models are gorgeous. I mean, the Grand Budapest Hotel excuse me, the Grand Budapest Hotel has some of the best like matte paintings and model work that I've ever seen in my entire life. And that includes watching like Star Wars and all that kind of fun stuff. And then when I see somebody like Osgood Perkins and I watch something like Longlegs, and I see like, oh, like it would be really interesting to see what Osgood Perkins thinks about Wes Anderson movies, because I do see that Kubrickian sort of influence that I see in Wes Anderson's films, but also like the decisions that like, Oz decides to put his cameras in, or maybe putting a camera in a place and just leaving it there still, like very Wes Anderson. So always really interested in that kind of aspect of filmmaking, and maybe that would be fun. I know I cover a lot of horror stuff here on the channel. I don't consider myself a horror channel. I consider myself like a you guys kind of channel. Like I'm here for the chat and I'm here for the community, and we talk a lot of horror, but man, it would be fun to do like a ranking of Wes Anderson films, because I absolutely adore his films. For sure. Yeah. Let's see here. We got Paula saying Keith Urban's new album is really good. I haven't heard it, Paula, but I did just buy. My wife is celebrating her 31st birthday tomorrow, and I bought her the new Lainey Wilson record and the newest Miranda Lambert record on double vinyl, both of them on double vinyl. But I've not yet listened to the Keith Urban record. I don't listen to a lot of country, but when Kate's around, I do. Necro says Pier Paolo Pasolini, the director of Salo, was murdered before it released, savagely beaten, and also run over several times with his own car. I'm not going to read the last sentence, but damn, Necro, that's brutal. So he must have been in trouble with the mob. Not going to lie, but Brad's pretty jealous about the cup. Little George P. Wilbur up here. This should be, somebody should do a super cut of like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where they replace the Grail with this one, and he grabs it and he's like, truly the cup of a carpenter. You chose wisely. What's happening, Kyle Curtis? Great to see you, man. Guys, our dude Kyle Curtis is like 20 away from 600, I think. If you guys haven't subbed over to Flet's Movies and Pop Culture 13, please go check it out. If there's a mod in the chat that can share the link so everyone can just click it and sub, that would be awesome. Let's see if we can get Kyle Curtis to 600 tonight. That would be really fun. Oh no, Jamie's got a bad headache. Catch the rest on the replay. Have a great night, Jamie. I'm so sorry that you're not feeling well. I get headaches like twice a week and they suck. I hate them. Let's see here. Yeah, that's my favorite Wes Anderson. I mean, Life Aquatic's really close, but damn, Royal Tenenbaums really, really good. Yeah, we listened to it this morning. We were putting up some of our Halloween decorations and everything, and yeah, listen to that and the Miranda record this morning. A lot of the music I listen to is like maybe just a little too aggressive for Kate. So usually I have to listen to my stuff alone, unfortunately. But I get it. When you want to put on Rust in Peace or even like Dirty Rice by the Mad Caddies or something like that, sometimes it's best if you're just alone and you can do your own like Tom Cruise slide into the room in your underwear kind of dance, Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Cody. Really appreciate you. What's happening, Megan? Great to have you hanging out with Brad. Congratulations on tying the knot. And it's so cool, man. Doing it at the gathering and having your people sign that document. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, congratulations to you guys. The next time you pop each other, just make sure to yell Davey Deathray's name, and we're cool. We're all square. Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm the worst. Signing off. No, I really don't know how many Wes Anderson movies I've seen. Yeah, I know I've missed some, but I caught up on a few last year. Like Kate and I watched like 3 or 4 that I had missed, and they're all like an hour and a half to an hour and 40 minutes. He just packs in so much story. It's really, really impressive, because you'd think, like, if you ask me how long's Royal Tenenbaums, I'll be like, oh, 2 hours, almost like 155. but it's like 135, 137. It's crazy. I've not seen Boogie Nights. Yeah, I just it came out at a time where like my parents probably wouldn't have let me watch it, and then like in my later years, I just wasn't interested in checking it out. Heather Graham to me is not a good performer. So, and Mark Wahlberg I think is like okay. So, I guess it just never really interested me because I didn't think the performers were too great. So, yeah. I'm a snob. Paula says, I love a lot of music, and one of my neighbors has already started on their decorations for Halloween. We have too, Paula. We put some stuff outside today. We've got some stuff inside the house as well. Some of the decorations Kate doesn't want to put up in the house again this year, so I'll probably just put them in the office. I'm sure you guys can tell I'm in a relatively small room. I just tried to fit a lot like behind me to make it look like a real studio. But Death Ray Studios is the corner of a tiny office, so it's kind of crazy. Let's see here. Nicholas says it's a movie I didn't see until I was in my mid-20s. Oh, Boogie Nights. Yeah. My husband and I try to do one night a week just listening to music and talking. That's amazing, Liana. I think that's really cool. That is like I wish Kate and I would do that, and that's something that like now that you're saying it, I'm gonna float that to my lady because we like to, go out and smoke a bowl or smoke a joint, like maybe half a joint. It would be really cool to be like, hey, one night a week, let's come on in and just like put records on back and forth. We have like almost 600 records, like 600 vinyl right now, all over the spectrum of music. I mean, I'm a punk rock, instrumental, and then metal kind of guy, and then she's like country with some pop and some like old rock and roll. So it's a really cool mix of 600 records there. I think that's a great idea, Liana. Absolutely. Holy cow, we've got Christian from Planet CHH in the house. What's happening, Christian? Great to see you. Christian says chicken sandwich or chicken burger. Which is the correct name? Well, unless it's squashed into a patty that looks like a burger, I think it should be called a sandwich if it's just a piece of chicken. And hopefully it's like Nashville hot, because I think a Nashville hot chicken sandwich is really fucking good. You get the mayo on there or the tartar sauce, like whatever you want to combat the heat of the Nashville, and then some crunchy skin on the juicy chicken. So I would say chicken sandwich, Christian, and that's a great question. Thank you so much for participating in the Q&A. Early decorations for Christmas for us in the Philippines. That's way too early, Prince. So break out the Halloween stuff. You guys don't do Halloween in the Philippines? Come on. Brad says, I'm convinced that it's impossible for people to make movies like they did when we were growing up. My wife and I watched Death Becomes Her, and Bruce Willis was so zany. Well, yeah, they spend so much money on movies now that like they can't take as many chances a lot of times. But I think what needs to happen is that I think the actors need to become producers and fund the movies themselves and get to make more of those decisions. I think that's the way to some better art. And then we need to be like, we need to scrutinize a little bit more as an audience. Like we don't need to see everything in the theater. Like some things need to earn your money. I think that's the thing with art, right? Like you have to hold them accountable. I do think that you have to meet the artist part of the way. I truly believe in that. And I love movies where they take chances and they take big swings. And maybe not everything works for me, but like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I'd take that any fucking day over his remake. I think his remake is just not necessary. Like I don't hate it. It's just not necessary. His sequel has things about it that I would change, but every movie does. Like, especially if you're talking horror, and especially if you're talking Michael Myers, I could dissect every single one. And I'm not even saying that my ideas would be better than what's there on film. I'm just saying that we all kind of go into these movies with our own ideas and expectations. And yeah, I think what you're saying here, Brad, is true to an extent because they spend so much money on movies now that it makes it really difficult for them to take chances, unfortunately. Liana says, Gory Tiger. Every time I think I see your name, I think of singing it like Holy Diver. Gory Tiger, you could see his stripes, but you know he's clean. It's perfect. Paula likes country, top 40 pop, rock in general, and R&B. All right. So yeah, Paula, I'm sort of on the outs with that. Like, not on the outs in a way. I don't judge anyone. Like, you like what you like, I like, and celebrate it. Absolutely. I just grew up listening to like skate punk and metal and like Epitaph and Fat Records. I mean, as far as pop goes, I like plenty of pop. You know, REO Speedwagon's one of my favorite bands. Tears for Fears is one of my favorite bands of all time. I fucking love Tears for Fears. And then there's like groups like Elvis Costello. Elvis Costello and the Attractions, amazing. Like, probably my favorite pop star of all time. And as far as like newer stuff goes, I really love Lorde. I think she's really great. To me, she's like a cut above the rest. So really enjoy what she does. But yeah, for me, like pop is like very case by case sort of basis for sure. That's what I would do when I was living with my sister and my dad would come to visit, put on the classic rock with the volume low enough to hear the conversation. Yeah, it's nice. Whenever Kate's dad will visit from Michigan, and whenever we make food, you know, we put on like, he loves like Jimmy Buffett and like all that kind of stuff. So like I sort of put together a playlist that I think will be good for him. That's like kind of chill. And it's really cool. Like, you get to set that sort of mood and everything. It's nice. Yeah. I've never seen Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, but I do love Michael Rooker, so I should see it. It inspired. Yeah, that's a really good Face to Face record, by the way, guys. If you have not listened to Face to Face by Face to Face, you should check it out. I think Face to Face is amazing. I mean, man, their first like 4 or 5 records, from Don't Turn Away through Ignorance is Bliss. I love all those records. And then they sort of like Reactionary, I thought was okay. They kind of lost me for a couple records, and then Protection came out, and I was like, oh damn, Face to Face is back. Like, Protection like really brought it back to that like 90s Fat Records kind of feel. Necro says metal and rap are my favorite genres. Hunt the Dinosaur is the best blend of the two I've found. I've never heard of Hunt the Dinosaur. I don't know if this is a blend, but Necro, have you ever listened to like the Injected by the Funk Junkies? The Funk Junkies, spelled PH Funk. Man, that record in particular, like, I don't really like their other stuff, but Injected, I mean, their first 2 are a bit more rock, and then they got rid of the singer that was like doing the rock stuff. And after that, they became a band that just sounded like they were like a 311 imitation band. But on their first couple records, they had more of that like rap rock kind of thing. Even some of the stuff from Injected like had a little bit of an Op Ivy feel. Yeah, I don't know. In Margaritaville. The only rock I don't like is death metal, and I don't even know which one is death metal. Which one's death metal and which one's black metal? Is black metal with the keyboards, or is death metal with the keyboards? I don't even know. I love music that makes me feel like I'm watching a Tim Burton movie. There you go. So you like the whimsical stylings of Danny Elfman. So you must be an Oingo Boingo fan, Brad. Are you an Oingo Boingo fan? If not, I highly recommend checking them out, especially if you like Real Big Fish, because I feel like Oingo Boingo influenced Real Big Fish quite a bit. Raymond says Shout is my favorite Tears for Fears songs, then Head Over Heels. Dude, I love so many of their songs. I think Mother's Talk is my favorite Tears for Fears song, but man, their new record that came out a few years ago is really fucking good. Might have only come out 2 years ago. It's really good. Their soundscapes are amazing. I almost had like, I never lived in the Midwest, but I almost had a Midwest accent there. Their sound, you put an E in a word, their soundscapes. That's the Midwest. Let's see here. Head Over Heels is so good. I think it got more. Yes. Donnie Darko got Tears for Fears more popular, not only with Head Over Heels, but with Mad World as well. Even my guy Cecil from the Horror Show channel, when I told him Mad World was I was like, well, that guy Gary Jules covers it for Donnie Darko, but it's a Tears for Fears song. And he's like, I had no idea. He's like, I thought that guy wrote the song. And I'm like, no, the fun thing about the Tears for Fears version is that it's an upbeat song with downbeat lyrics. So there's like a juxtaposition there. And then Gary Jules like just did sort of a, it's like if Michael Stipe played it on guitar, it was just like Everybody Hurts, you know, the whole time through it. And man, Donnie Darko, a movie I liked the first time. Every other time I watched it, I was like, why did I like this movie? More and more. Every time I watched Donnie Darko, I was like, less impressed. Yeah. Dude, Who Do You Want to Be, Liana? That fucking song. Like that. Who do you want to be today? I said, who do you want to be? So good. Oh my God. So good. Yeah, I mean, Devo's lost some people, haven't they? Unfortunately. Black metal has keyboards. Okay, death metal is more dirty, low tune guitars. Yeah, I'm not into the growling vocals that much either. I like the stoner metal. I like the doom metal for sure. Black metal sounds like fun. I like the keyboards. I like the classical kind of stuff. I mean, for me though, thrash is probably my favorite. I mean, like, how do you top Rust in Peace? I think it's really difficult to be a metal band. Like, how do you surpass something like Rust in Peace? Because you know, it came out in 1990. So what it was doing was like pretty revolutionary and groundbreaking at the time, and also just like really fun. So yeah, really, really tough one. Only Punk Raymond knows or Offspring or Blink 182. Well, man, I would say, you know, that's all that the radio will let you hear, unfortunately. And I would consider both of those bands like pop punk. I think that Blink has some elements that are a bit tougher than Offspring for sure. But Raymond, check out NoFX. NoFX. That's like the best skate punk band I've ever heard. And they influence both of those guys. And I guarantee they're way fucking better. They're just about to break up. They've been together since like 1983. Especially if you're looking for one record to start with, Raymond. So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes from 1998. That is the place to start with NoFX. And if you like it, go a little bit beyond and then go a little bit back. But really fun stuff. Liquid Spear Waltz from Donnie Darko is mesmerizing, especially on Substances. I don't know that track, and I stopped doing, well, cannabis every day, but I stopped doing other stuff. I liked it the first time because the performances were fun, but yeah, the story is a mess. Yeah. The story is an absolute mess, and it doesn't make any sense. The more you watch it, the less it makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, dude, you should hear the Tears for Fears version. I mean, I'm not saying it's like not gloomy because the lyrics are gloomy, but there's like a friggin' drum machine behind it. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot different than the Gary Jules. And I just want to say Michael Stipe, because let's be honest, like he's just imitating Michael Stipe. Oh my God, fucking Millencolin is absolutely amazing, dude. Yeah, Life on a Plate, Penny Bridge Pioneers, that like fourth record they did, I really liked that one. I really liked what's the After Life on a Plate, what's that record called? I'm totally forgetting it now. I feel terrible. Even the record before it that has like Mr. Clean and yeah, I mean, Millencolin's amazing. Punk and Drublik's awesome. Hell yeah, Liana. Liana knows what's up. Yeah, Real Big Fish is incredible live. Absolutely. Really fun band. Suicide Machines, really fun live as well. Really dig what those guys do. And I know they're out there on the road touring. And another band, like I had mentioned Saves the Day earlier this stream, they are going to be here in Phoenix in December, and with Senses Fail, who I'm not familiar with, but I'm going to go to see Saves the Day. Absolutely. Well, shoot, guys, we've been going at it here for a couple hours now. I know it's just been an hour on this stream, but we had some sputters and some false starts. But, you know, I think I am going to call it a night here unless anyone else has something they want to bring up. I feel like we've had a good hang. And, listen to the Live Pie Tasters album. I'll have to check that one out. I don't think I've listened to them live ever, Liana. I do have a hankering for Life in General by MXPX. So I might put on a little Mad Caddies just to sort of like loosen the mood. And then, put that on vinyl. And then I might switch over to the YouTube music and listen to a little MXPX. Yeah, Necro says everyone should go watch The Substance in the theater. I just won a $50 gift card for Fandango off Killjoy Jake's channel yesterday, so I think I'm gonna go see The Substance in the theater. And speaking of Necro being brought up, boom, let's just do that. Necro, all of this that's around me is Necro's work, except for the logo there that my brother did that I superimposed. But Necro did everything else. Follow him over at Instagram. If you guys are not following Necro Mechanimal with the UFO, go follow Necro Mechanimal with the UFO. Look at how beautiful this is. It's amazing. And yeah, we're going to have to figure something out with these public domain streams. We might have to do them like a traditional watch party. And the whole point in picking public domain movies was so we wouldn't have to do that. So I do appreciate you guys being so patient and understanding tonight and hopping back on the stream, even though we got canned twice. We got fired twice in one night, guys. But I'm going to go grab a little bite to eat for dinner and go listen to some music. And I'm going to be putting together something for the members only here pretty soon. And guys, just got this box from Eli. He didn't make it to the stream tonight, so we're not opening it, but I'm very interested in seeing what's in here. I kind of want to open it just because I'm a spoiled brat. But yeah, guys, no stream tomorrow. I would be hopping on normally to do something for the members tomorrow, but Kate and I are going to be out at the Lions Cardinals game watching that. So should be pretty damn fun. I hear it's advised to not eat while watching. I try not to eat in the theater at all, really. Maybe candy a little bit, but not like nachos or a burger, popcorn, maybe every once a year. I don't know. At home, I'll eat whatever the hell and do whatever the hell, but at the theater, I like to keep it low key. But yeah, guys, really appreciate you hanging out with me here tonight. You guys are amazing. The subs, the channel members, the patrons, you guys fuel everything we do here at the channel. I love you guys so much. If you're watching this after the fact, you're probably wondering what the hell happened to the streams that got canned. I don't know. Maybe you could send me an email and tell me. But really appreciate you guys kicking it with us tonight. I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday night. And yes, Raymond, I will tell Kate happy birthday from everyone here in the chat. Just praying for that Detroit Lions win and looking forward to hanging out and watching an NFL game tomorrow. I'm a huge NFL fan, so it should be a blast. So yeah, guys, really appreciate you kicking it with me. And I will be back on Monday, the 23rd, with my guy Hayden. He's never seen The Thing by John Carpenter. So he's watching it this weekend, and we're going to talk about The Thing. I'm a huge fan for a long time. That movie came out the year I was born. I've been watching it for about 25, 30 years, almost once a year since then. So I'm really excited to have a chat with him since he's going to be a first-time viewer. So hit the notification bell for that stream if you haven't yet. And then, of course, we'll be back on Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern with Mel from My Killer Podcast on Late Night with the Davey. So until then, I've been and will continue being Davey Death Ray. Take care.